The story you are about to see is particularly disturbing.
The police officer has just uncovered a puppy that's been buried in the garden.
It's been buried alive. It's still alive.
It was horrible. They were poorly puppies, and these people had buried them alive in their back garden.
Organised gangs sell on pedigree breeds to maximise profits, and with some puppies costing as much as £2,000, there are millions to be made. Whether it's puppies being trafficked illegally or unlicensed puppy farms, they are known to cut corners. And if things like vaccinations aren't taken care of, it can have serious consequences. Some puppies are known to die within days of coming home.
There's a huge amount of money to be made out of breeding and selling puppies. Some come from sort of more locally, which is Wales or Ireland, but it appears more and more that they're coming from Eastern European countries, and there's concerns about their welfare coming that far, and also in terms of what vaccinations they've had prior to being imported. And there's probably about 30 dogs in their puppies, not ideal environment, too crowded and things like that. So it's a question of sorting out exactly where they're going. We've got dogs everywhere, dogs about to give birth, lots of puppies, and there's major concerns about the welfare in there as well.
It's not yet known exactly how many dogs are in the house, but it looks as though it's one breed in particular that's been cashed in on.
This is a very heavily pregnant French bulldog bitch, and because she's so close to giving birth, it wouldn't be appropriate to put her in a kennel, so we've arranged a foster carer for her. Very sweet-natured, but you know, obviously her welfare's got to come first, so it's off to foster care for her.
Kathy's team are on hand to get the dogs assessed and out of there. And as the numbers climb, more of them are showing signs of illness. But there's a few very young ones that Kathy is particularly concerned about. On the surface, they might look okay, but they're all showing signs of a potentially fatal virus.
We suspect this litter of puppies got something called parvovirus, which can kill very, very quickly. It affects their digestive system, and they start pooing blood and getting very dehydrated, and these are the signs that we're seeing in these puppies. So priority to get them to the vet, get them rehydrated and get them treated.
As Kathy reaches the vets, two little puppies thought to have the killer parvovirus have gone downhill.
It's these two. I mean, we brought them to a very strange environment, and you can hear the other dogs and puppies in the background that are obviously interested, and these two aren't at all interested. They're very, very tired, very lethargic.
So these dogs need urgent medical attention. There's an easy test a vet can do to see how dehydrated the dog is. When the skin is pulled, if it stays up, like this, there's not enough fluid in the dog's body.
It's not whipping back as it should do, so we've got some dehydration issues in there.
And that's not all the vet discovers is wrong with them.
That's quite a severe conjunctivitis, that, for a puppy of this age. So that, you know, quite possibly could be viral.
Conjunctivitis is another highly contagious condition that could well have been passed around by the dogs all being kept together when they're ill. But for now, they have more pressing concerns.
We're going to just see if we can apply a catheter into one of the veins on the front leg and just start getting some intravenous fluids through there.
With no idea how long these little ones have been like this, they could still go downhill very quickly. And if the RSPCA hadn't got to them first, they could well have been sold on at death's door. There's nothing more the vets can do for the puppies suspected to have the parvovirus. For them, it's a waiting game. And the sad truth is, their problems could well have been prevented with a simple vaccination, but instead, they were left to suffer. Kathy Hyde and her team rescued 41 dogs, but the great news is 40 survived. And remember that pregnant French bulldog? She gave birth to a healthy litter of 6. In a joint operation with the police and trading standards, the RSPCA raided this puppy farm in Greater Manchester. And it was one of the biggest Inspector Jason Bowles had ever seen.
It's a hellhole, isn't it? Hellhole for dogs.
Dogs were being kept in despicable conditions. And sadly, mothers almost bred to death.
Body condition-wise, teats are on the ground, being fed, but you can see that she's been overbred, though. I mean, it's just, I've never seen anything like that.
Some just didn't make it and were tossed aside. Tiny puppies taken from their mothers, abandoned and alone.
Where is Mum? Why has she been separated?
These defenceless animals wanted love, but instead they were abused, all at the hands of a father and son duo.
No, they're not. What?
At the end of the
You're
day...
just a policewoman, you're nothing to do with animal health.
For running an illegal, unlicensed puppy farm, these two were banned from having dogs for 10 years.
You're not taking these dogs at all, there's nothing wrong with them.
The good news is, the team did. They were able to rescue 137 of them. But it was a mammoth task. The RSPCA had to pool the resources of 8 different centres and work late into the night to get them all out of there. To rehome all these dogs seemed an impossible task. But, remarkably, 1 year on, every single one of the 137 rescued dogs and puppies have found loving new homes across the country. Shockingly, the RSPCA receive around 6,000 calls a year about dogs left in cars.
Hello. We have a little tiny puppy. It's a little chihuahua. You can hear it whining. You know, it could really want some attention as well. Now, there's food and water, and obviously there's a bed, but this is a very young puppy that shouldn't be in here. What we need to do is try and find out who the owner is and where they're working.
But that's easier said than done. Before this Chihuahua puppy can be freed, Tony will have to employ his detective skills to track down the owner.
Got some people having a cigarette. Let me ask them. Don't know if you can help. Looking for someone who owns a red car around the corner. Got a little puppy in it.
Finally, Tony's persistence pays off.
Do you fancy going and asking her to come out to speak to me? Because I need to go and see the puppy.
And he tracks down the puppy's owner, Angel.
Is that your red Fiat Punto around the corner with a little puppy in it?
Yeah.
Right. We need to go and have a look at the puppy. I'm concerned about it.
Angel's chilly little Chihuahua is called Nev, and Tony isn't happy.
I want to see this dog out of the car now, and it's only 8 weeks old. It's not something you should be doing with a pup. How long have you had Nev?
A day.
So you've had Nev for a day?
Yeah.
Right. Where'd you get him from?
My boyfriend bought it for me.
Oh, right. Is it a birthday present or just a present? A Christmas present.
Unlike your average Christmas present, puppies need rather more care and consideration, although Angel still needs to be persuaded.
There you go. He is very cute. Thinking with your head, Angel, do you think it was actually a wise choice for your boyfriend to get you a puppy right at the moment?
Yeah.
You do? I'm not convinced about that.
Angel doesn't seem to understand that little Nev's little life was put at risk.
He's so tiny, he's got time for a place to run around.
The issue is the temperature. The temperature's only 5 or 6 degrees at the moment. You know, it's pretty chilly.
I came out at 2 and played with him for an hour.
With Angel seemingly oblivious to the danger she exposed Nev to, Tony needs to make sure that Nev won't ever end up in a situation like this again, and he gives Angel a warning notice.
What I need to do is give you a warning that you cannot leave Nevin. You can't leave him in your car again. I can see you love him very much.
I'm so glad you're not taking him away. I would have
I'm
gone
not-
mad.
I'm not-
I would have gone a rampage.
I know, I understand that. But you also need to understand that you've got a responsibility to ensure that you're doing the right thing for him. Yeah? What I will say is that if we get a call about him in the car tomorrow, seeing as I've already given you a warning, we'd probably just have to remove the dog and then take action from there. Do you understand? Yeah?
A warning notice means that Angel must act immediately on the advice given to her by Tony, or she could have Nev seized from her and be taken to court.
I didn't want to leave him in the car, but obviously I had no other choice today because obviously I didn't have that much time to sort out someone looking after him.
With Nev now safe from harm and a rampage narrowly avoided, Tony's work here is done.
I think that Angel understands the warning that I've given her, and she understands the advice that I've given her. I think she understands that it's not the best thing for the dog.
The first day of Nev's new life with Angel got off to a chilly start, but it looks like this will be the last one he'll spend alone in a cold car, thanks to the dog rescuers. A call has come in about a young puppy that's been left in a cardboard box.
Hiya.
And it looks like someone's already found the abandoned pup.
All right, you can put him down for me. You're very friendly, aren't you? You've got a lovely coat. Yeah, he's a little bit thin. Probably All right, let's have a little look. Would say
If this happy little bull mastiff cross has a microchip, it could help Natalie identify the owner.
He's too excited. No, was it tied up or?
It was actually in a box.
Okay, so he was found over there by the bins.
So, before this cheeky chappie can be rehomed, the RSPCA has to give the owner 7 days to reclaim him. On the surface, this fella seems in good shape, but just in case, vet David Mills is on hand again to give him the once-over. It's not just the badly injured ones he sees.
Look at you. He's a little bit thin. His ribs are very easy to count, and he's also got a very prominent backbone here. But apart from that, everything's looking pretty good. If his age is right at about 6 months, maybe reach sort of sexual maturity. It's like a teenage boy at this age, trying to hump from those things that move.
Just trying to think of a suitable name.
Casanova.
Yeah, we said Casanova, didn't we? Or Romeo, which is a bit... Romeo? Let's go Romeo then. He's been quite amorous with me this afternoon, so I think the name suits, really. Romeo's going to find a home very easily. He's a beautiful dog, very friendly, a lot to give somebody. He's very loving, our Romeo, aren't you? He's a very sweet dog.
As we were looking round the house, I remember hearing a really strange noise, like a really low-pitched, kind of whiny, waily, really eerie noise.
The noise came from behind this closed door. Waiting in the darkness was something truly disturbing. 2 suitcases stuffed with puppies.
They're dying. They're freezing cold and dying.
It was too late for some of them, but there were others still clinging on for life.
Luckily, this lady's Arga was on, and we stood with like towels, trying to dry the puppies off and warm them over the Arga. We had hot water bottles on the go. If we'd have been like minutes, hours later, a lot of them wouldn't have made it.
Incredibly, by sheer improvisation, the team managed to save 7 of the puppies. That day, 26 dogs were removed from the property. For this level of cruelty, the owner's actions didn't go unpunished. She was sent to prison for 20 weeks and banned from keeping animals for life. The good news is, all the dogs that survived this ordeal have now been rehomed, including Megan, one of the revived puppies.
When I first picked her up, she was a matter of days old, so she's obviously changed quite drastically since when I first saw her. She's a happy girl, and hopefully she hasn't really got any bad memories of what happened to her because she was so young, which is a real blessing.
Poor Megan had a terrible start to life, and if it wasn't for Gemma and her team, she wouldn't be here today. All that's behind her now, but it's a case that Gemma will never forget.
When people find out that I'm an RSPCA inspector, often one of the questions they'll ask you is, what's the worst thing you've seen, or what's the hardest case you've been involved in? And my mind always goes to this one. Finding those puppies in that suitcase, the sound that they were making and just the sights is something that I'll never forget.
The story you are about to see is particularly disturbing. You may find some of the images distressing.
Right up until the morning that we executed the warrant and went to the property, it was kind of a job like any other, really. We expected to find puppies in poor condition, but nothing could have quite prepared us for what actually happened that day.
The room is very cramped, and on the floor we have puppies, young puppies.
The conditions inside the house were disgraceful. The dogs were living in squalor, surrounded by filth. But when Jane went into the back garden, things got worse.
So you've got several dogs housed in rabbit hutches in the back garden, all crammed in together. A rabbit hutch that had got an adult Staffordshire Bull Terrier female with her puppies. It was vile.
As the vet began to examine the dogs and puppies, he could immediately see that they had been suffering unnecessarily.
She does have mammary swellings here. She's also got evidence of an old oral haematoma in the left ear. You can see the way it's all sort of shriveled up.
But the team hadn't even scratched the surface. What they were about to uncover was truly shocking.
There was a small child at the address, and they were talking with a police officer, and as the vet took the temperature of one of the dogs, the child said, "It's a shame the man couldn't have helped the other puppies. They died this morning." So obviously at that point your ears prick up and you think, okay, where are these puppies? And the child indicated that they were in the sand at the top of the garden.
The team made their way to the back of the garden to investigate.
There looks to have been a dog kept here at some point.
18.
Steve!
Breathe
Steve!
breathe it, Steve, quick!
The police officers started to move the soil away, and just unbelievably really, there were these, we pulled out a puppy.
We've got, the police officer has just uncovered
a puppy that's been buried in the garden.
It's been buried alive. It's still alive.
It was squealing and gasping for air.
Can we start exhuming this patch of soil?
It was horrible, and as the police dug a little deeper, lo and behold, there was a second puppy.
Police officer has just uncovered another puppy.
They were poorly puppies, and these people had buried them alive in their back garden.
The puppies had been pulled from a shallow grave. But tragically, the team had no choice but to put them to sleep.
There was nothing that could be done for those dogs.
The three owners pleaded guilty and were given the maximum sentence of 6 months imprisonment and banned from keeping animals for life. That day, 9 dogs and 15 puppies were rescued, leaving behind a horrendous life.
Come on, go!
Bing was one of the lucky dogs to be rescued. Now he lives with his new owner, Helen Ward.
Back here, Bing!
This fella is enjoying his new life, and Helen and her family wouldn't be without him.